Oh, for f***'s sake.
Come on now, dawg.
I just know something bad is going to happen. Huh?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Hey guys, it's your boy Dragon back at it again after doing a dive into the Hollywood dumpster fire, and holy Jesus, I never expected myself to make a review on a show like this, but please hear me out. You see, as usual, Netflix has forced my hand to do this since I'm a really big fan of ancient history, and I don't like it when a big company tries to mess up actual human history by creating lazy travesties like this that only focus on telling the documentary producer's personal take on an important real person's life instead of presenting the actual facts that we have available, just so they can please their ESG score obsessed production studios in the hope of getting more gigs to do more garbage like this.
Okay, you know what?
Listen now, brother, let me tell you something.
You.
Now, before we begin, I want to get a few things out of the way. Number one, I'm not an actual historian, but unlike the producers of the show, I am not trying to twist history for my own personal benefit. You can see evidence of my historical sincerity if you doubt my words in a video review I made on the Jada Smith Cleopatra Netflix show from last year as well. Number two, I recommend that you do your own research into the topic of Alexander instead of believing what someone tells you firsthand. Heck, correct me in the comments if I missed a detail or I was wrong about something. Please, I would actually appreciate that. Lastly, if at any point you end up enjoying this video, then please consider doing what you're seeing on screen right now and expect to get Zeus's favor for being such an upstanding individual of society like it was described during the days of the ancient poets and philosophers.
Fun and good for your health.
Without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so for those of you that are not big into history, I'm sure you're asking yourself the question, Dragon, what is this show exactly about and why should I care? Well, let me answer your question, little Timmy. This show is supposed to be a historical documentary explaining not only the life of Alexander the Great, but also of his incredible military victories and the innovative tactics he used to bring about said exploits in order to create one of the biggest empires this world has ever seen, which ended up revolutionizing much of ancient and medieval period warfare and the spread of Hellenistic culture.
Dude, that's awesome!
However, what we end up getting instead is a historical drama disguised as a documentary of the show producer's perspectives on Alexander himself that they thought should have appeared on the 2004 Oliver Stone Alexander film, and we are all forced to pay for it with our attention spans because they need to waste quite a good chunk of the show to promote a new archaeological dig of an ancient temple foundation that was recently discovered to be dated back to the days of Alexandria's founding, but also to let us know that they think Alexander's deep friendship with Hephaestion was in fact a full-on gay lover relationship, even though the Greek minister of culture says that's complete bullshit.
What?
Excuse me, sir, but you just skipped a lot of levels, okay?
Look, the gay issue in the scope of how big of a pile of crap this documentary is quite small, because they only show that scene for like 2, maybe 3 minutes into the first episode, and then you don't see these two men smooching again until the last episode for less time. But to be honest, the historians on this documentary are right in that the ancient world of Alexander's time, sexuality was perceived differently, and so we have to look at it from that perspective rather than our modern lens. For some cultures back then, especially the ancient Greeks, the perception was that as long as you were the dominant man in any romantic relationship you were in, then nobody gave a crap about who you slept with as long as you didn't make a big deal out of it and performed your duty as a free man of society, which was to contribute to either the fields of politics, agriculture, trade, or warfare, and have as many children as possible with your wife, even if you weren't into women. This drives my point further, because the producers should have done their due diligence and stated a disclaimer that Alexander having gay relationships with his best friend is pure speculation on their part, since there is no historical evidence to support it apart from their conjecture. In fact, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they should have put another disclaimer saying that at least 50% of the content they presented here is just pure baloney, because they thought Oliver Stone's 2004 film was inadequate and that they could do it better.
What, nigga?
Idiots doing idiot things because they're idiots.
Exactly.
Moving on.
Right, so besides that, what else is there? Well, the documentary begins with Alexander's voluntary exile from the royal court of Macedonia out of fear because his drunken father Philip II of Macedon publicly threatened to kill him at a party because Alexander couldn't get along with his most trusted general, and then we progress forward in time years later to when an older Alexander returns to the court under a summons from his father in order to publicly clean the slate of bad blood between them since he is the true heir to the throne, but to also celebrate the wedding alliance of his sister with some local warlord. However, amidst political intrigue, tragedy strikes when Philip II gets assassinated by one of his most trusted bodyguards, but that is also when Alexander is made king and his legendary campaign against Persia finally begins.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
After that, the show decides to showcase some more political intrigue by letting us know that Alexander's mother, Olympia, most likely killed a fellow concubine's baby out of fear of Alexander's power being threatened in the future, which drove her opponent to self-deleting herself out of trauma, and the show then decides to take too much time telling us the obvious things that happens during conflicts of succession in ancient times, which is a lot of violence because of the fact that Darius III and Alexander both took control of their respective thrones within weeks of each other, but also that Alexander's mother may have brainwashed her son into believing that he was one of Zeus's demigod sons. I mean, what do you expect? Bro was led to believe by his mother since childhood that he was always special, so I'm not surprised he believes her at face value during an assisted drug hallucination episode.
Wait, what?
Regardless, the war between Darius and Alexander begins in earnest after a Macedonian general named Attalus is executed for treason since Alexander discovered he was taking bribes from the Persians, and holy Jesus, you can tell these actors are not taking this production seriously. Just look at this quick, inspiring speech from the actor portraying the youngest conqueror in world history who definitely physically resembles the real-life person to a T.
Heaven cannot brook two sons, nor earth two masters. Asia shall be our gift from the gods.
Let the invasion begin.
Gets worse.
Now, you think that's the worst you'll see of the show, then you're sorely mistaken, my good friends, because it only gets dumber. You see, after the speech, the documentary then wastes a lot of unnecessary time letting us know that Alexander took multiple detours to different shrines dedicated to many heroes and gods referenced in Greek and non-Greek myths because the guy really loves sightseeing while waging war with his friends, and that means the show can use that in order to be lazy and not cover actual history. Anyway, let's get into the meat of what has historians and history buffs so mad about the show. First off, most of the battle reenactments shown here are described in such vivid detail by the historian commentators that it makes you wonder how these guys felt after this documentary came out, because all you see while the historians are talking about the few battles covered here, because they don't cover all the cool major battles by the way, is literally Alexander or someone else yelling, "Charge!" while people just run headfirst into each other while the battles descend into full-out brawls that never showcase the Macedonian army's true worth in battle. But don't worry, because they do show off the end of one siege battle, but don't take my word for it. Let me show you.
Are you serious right now?
Exhibit A.
And now, Exhibit B.
A few moments later.
Exhibit C.
And so the battle breaks in storming chaos.
Charge! We get it, man.
Anything else?
How about no?
You know, I'm actually quite shocked that I have to say this, but this show really only covers 3 whole battles. Like, we're talking full-fledged battles of people fighting, and you see a lot of reenactments going on in these battles. Yeah, they may show one siege battle here and there, which I think it's only one singular siege battle. I don't think there's any more, because there is another one that you think they're going to do a siege battle, but then you realize, oh wait, no, this is where they take over an entire city without any hostility. So yeah, just these 3 battles, not much is happening, as you can see. No showcasing of the Macedonian phalanx, none of that shit. It's just, you know, pure brawling that we're having here. So yeah, now you can see why the history buffs and historians absolutely hate the show. And, you know, normal people too, because this is boring.
Like, I hear what you're saying, but you're white, so I don't know why.
Look guys, I may be crazy sometimes, yet even I know there's more to battles than what I just exposed you to. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a passionate history lover talking about how much I detest real-life history getting defiled by a bunch of inadequate producers who obviously wanted to make a fictional historical drama but were not able to afford it, so instead they pretend to be a documentary in order to get more funding from Netflix.
You suck!
Moving on, the rest of the show just devolves into a lot of time padding of the intricacies of the ancient Persian political systems and how Darius was becoming a huge embarrassment in the empire because of the fact that Alexander captured his daughter and wife, who he later impregnated after fleeing a battle, but also how he ignored his closest general's advice to attack the Greek troops in Egypt once he was told that Alexander decided to just detour into the desert in search of the ancient city of Siwa in order to get the blessing of some high priestess for PR purposes, and instead opted for the hope that the sandstorm would kill the annoying Greek cockroach because a Persian king and his army were killed by one long ago.
You serious?
That's f***ed up.
Now, this may not sound like something problematic because I'm summarizing it, but the documentary wastes the viewer's time on the second half of the 4th episode and all of the 5th episode trying to tell you what it took me less than a minute to explain because, again, they literally think your time's expendable enough that you would want to waste it watching a couple of dudes endure a fucking sandstorm just so we can see some random old lady sage tell him, "You're made for great things, Alexander. Now I name you the incarnation of the god Amun. Go conquer shit."
What? Okay, fine. I'm cool. I'm fine.
Oh my, I almost forgot. Prior to that, he was named Pharaoh of Egypt because the Egyptians really hated the Persians, and he founded the city of Alexandria during his off-season wartime, while an advert for the new archaeological site dig plays for a few minutes, letting you know that they dug a foundation of a temple that was built during Alexander's time. So now you're caught up when it comes to context, thanks to my paraphrase.
Because the more you know.
Please note that after wasting your time for almost 2 hours of unnecessary time padding, we finally get told that Alexander almost lost the loyalty of his army after going on too many side trips because they thought he was acting less Greek than usual and accepting way too many foreign customs. But thanks to Ptolemy's genius wit and word flair expertise, the army is convinced that staying loyal to Alexander is a very valuable proposition, something which they would come to regret in later years. Sometime later, he and Darius do their final battle in Gaugamela, which concluded through very boring battle reenactment sequences that let us know that Alexander was never able to kill Darius because his own disgruntled commander and relative Bessus backstabbed him after suffering much humiliation under his command and left his rotting body behind on a cart for Alexander to find in the hopes that he wouldn't go after him. However, what this does instead is anger Alexander so much that he requests this man to be put to death off screen, and then the show goes, right, Darius's wife? You know that chick Alexander was banging and got pregnant? She's dead now, and Alexander just moved into Darius's palace of Babylon, and he's the king of the world. Oh, you want to know what happens after he takes over half of the Persian Empire and his conquest of the other half? Well, screw you, plebs. You're gonna watch more advertising clips of this new archaeological site for the last 9 minutes of the last episode, and you're gonna like it.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Time to open up some whoop ass.
Yeah, and that's where this show ends abruptly, but I already know the question you guys want to ask me, and that is, Dragon, is this even worth my time? Well, the short answer is no. The long answer, this show is just so lazily made that I can't even recommend it to someone high off their ass on cocaine and weed, or even on the basis of watching a historical documentary, since it's not one. It's a producer's sick fantasy of what Alexander the Great is in their minds, and they even tried using the media as a way to shield themselves from any backlash, and as you can see, it failed miserably, which made my heart sigh with relief and renew my faith in humanity once more, because people have finally woken up to the BS and said, I'm tired of this crap, give me better quality or leave. With that, friends, my rating for this god-awful documentary is a 3 out of 10, and here's a little visualization to drive the point home.
No! No what?
Oops. Wrong answer, homie.
Oh, it looks painful.
Now, stay safe, have a wonderful day, and wait until this last clip is over so you can be recommended another awesome video. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and Namarie.
And now for something completely different.
What are stories but mystery boxes? There's a...
What a load of shit.
You wanna play games? Okay. Have to play with you. Say hello to my little friend!
Damn! Oh, no, I ain't messing with you. Oh, no.
Until next time, I'm a British person. Good night.
What? You want more?
It's okay. We know.